I am Keith League, and over the past few years, my wife Heather and I have been exploring haunted locations, attempting to prove if humans can contact entities beyond our plane of existence. Join us on our journey to discover the unknown and paranormal.
One of the claims is that they don't like big band music, so we're probably going to try to play some big band music. The claim is that... Well, the Paranormal one just get up. Hey Heather, have you been in here?
No, but I'm just getting like
Come here.
really drafty right here.
So, Heather and I were just in the living room doing just EVP sessions. I came into the room and this closet door is open.
When we were doing the EVP in there earlier, I had heard a noise come from this room, but I didn't think anything about it because, you know, we don't know the sounds of the house. And I thought maybe still it could have been something from outside. The wind was blowing. So maybe we captured the sound of the door opening.
Maybe.
When we were doing the EVP. You gotta listen to this. Maybe it's just me.
James, are you here with us now?
Would you like some wine? Did you guys drink Chris and Ginger's wine? I like the idea of knowing the death and still drink. We're about to finish off the wine. Would you like some?
Last call for alcohol.
We can pour you a glass. Come share ours. Come share ours.
Alright, we survived night one of staying in the Burroughs house. I did have nightmares last night. Each of the nightmares had something to do with the particular entities coming to me in the bed, and just being in the bed with us. And that was tripping me out. Each time I would just call out to Heather and she would hear me just sleep screaming, I guess, and would just touch me and wake me up and everything would be fine. Then I would go back to sleep. Normally if I'm having a nightmare and I wake up I can go back to sleep and have a completely different dream, but this seemed to kind of take on the same exact theme each time. So now we're just going to get up, collect ourselves, go grab some breakfast. We're going to go today to visit the cemetery where a lot of the Burroughs are laid to rest, maybe pay our respects there, and then sit down and go over some of our evidence from last night, and then get ready for another night of investigations. So thank you, Chris and Ginger, for taking a moment to talk to us. So we
Thank you
like
for
to
dinner,
just,
too.
yeah,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
wonderful. It was awesome. So don't forget, when you come here, you get wonderful dinner if you know them well enough. So tell us, you guys got this place. It was 2016, right?
Mm-hmm.
Roughly.
Mm-hmm.
I think it
What
was
you got?
The
So
October.
October 2016.
I went with her. She went and saw this house first, and then she invited me after work one day to come up and look at it. And I was like, okay, I'll come look at it. And when I got to this house, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, actually. I didn't even know this is a really nice house. So as soon as I stepped into the door, I had this very uneasy, heavy, weighted feeling, like something was watching me. And I never have had experience with ghosts before, never had experience with anything paranormal before. And I immediately felt uneasy.
Wow.
And the real estate agent is like taking her time because she's this little southern old lady, and I am running her through the house because I do not want to be in this house. I was like, there's something about that house. I don't know what it is. I don't like it. It's just, I don't think this is a good idea. There's something about that house that
Intuition.
uneasy. And she's, because she got mad at me. She's like, why'd you rush the real estate lady through the house? I said, because I wanted out. That's exactly what I said. I said, you want that house? Okay, but I don't know if I'm going to be moving to it because that house, there's something with it. So she buys the house.
So
and I'm
when
like,
you were there that day, you didn't really feel anything, nothing.
I was
you were
too caught
starstruck.
up in the
The detail.
beauty.
charm and
so she didn't.
architectural.
She didn't recognize nothing.
Fireplaces, the floor,
Mhm.
yeah, everything.
Yeah, she was loving it, and of course, it had the furniture in it still too. So she immediately fell in love with it.
So all this furniture came with the house?
The Victorian room furniture did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
okay.
two
we bought a
couches
few
and the two
pieces
chairs.
and added to
Well,
it.
we've bought pieces.
But
and
those
added.
main pieces in there
Mhm.
came with it.
The two chairs and the two,
Sofas.
and that's it, right?
No,
Or the tables.
The smaller
The
tables.
smaller
yeah.
marble tables, which are in the back now. Ginger actually
Mm-hmm.
bought newer ones for Christmas. Her dad bought them for her, actually. So, anyways, so I was like, I'm telling you, a gut feeling there's something with that house. And she's like, well, I really love it, and we've been looking for like 4 months.
You already lost
Yeah.
a house too.
Yeah,
that you
they
had
made an
put a-
offer on
made an
one
offer
this morning.
house,
It got bought out
Got
from
bought
under
out from under
us.
us. And this is before the big housing craze that
It
we're
was
doing
right
right
at
now.
the beginning of
It's
it.
right at the beginning of it in 2016. So she's like, well, I'm gonna make an offer on that house because I'm gonna get that house before anybody else takes it because it's gonna go quick because of the price for it.
Right.
And we go and meet the guy who owned the house, and he's got cars, and so he's in the car scene, and he was just like, yeah, I've done $200,000 worth of work to that house, and I'm just not going to get my money out of it. So I wanted to go to somebody who's really going to be able to, love it and take care of it and enjoy the work I've put into it. Little do we know, the guy's full of shit and a total liar.
Didn't do anything.
But we'll get to that later. So, anyways, she puts an offer on the house, and I'm back at home, and I was traveling at that time, and I was working, and I was at the Mount Juliet house, and so she got the house, and her and her daughter, there's a picture of her and her daughter standing in front of the house, with the keys. And if you look in the upper window on the left dormer window, you can see a older woman and a young girl's eyes
Really?
staring out at them.
Do you have
And
that
that was the
picture?
first
Somewhere. I
picture
can
she
try
took
to
of the
find it,
house.
yeah.
And she put it online. And as soon as she put it online, I noticed it. And I said, when you see it. And like it went, at that time, what I would say, it went viral because nobody ever comments on my post. And there was like 150 comments on my post. Like, holy crap, I totally see it. That's insane. You just bought that house? That house is haunted as hell. And I'm like, I knew it. I knew it. So I was like, no, we're not. I'm going to stay in Mount Juliet, and you can get the house going, and you can, we'll slowly move into the house. So we go, it was like December, January, and the house we were living in, which we were renting, because Mount Juliet property was going like off the shelf because they just built Providence and everybody wanted to live in Mount Juliet.
yeah.
And that was the beginning of the craze. The lady that owned the property was made an offer she could not refuse. She was offered 1.6 million for 40 acres. So
Wow.
yeah, she took it, and we had 30 days to move. So we got a 36-foot, the giant U-Haul, packed everything up and moved here. And I was living in this house, and from day one, oh boy, they messed with me big time. They did not like me at all, in the beginning at least. They did not. I was, of course, I'm moving all this stuff into the house,
Right.
and we're making all kinds of racket. We're changing things around. We're making noise. We're disturbing whatever's here. I had doors slammed in my face. I was pushed up the steps. I wasn't pushed down, so I guess that's a good thing, but I was pushed up the steps. And,
And so you've been pushed up the steps too, right?
well,
Yeah.
she had things happen to her. So tell them what happened to you before I even moved in here. And I was like, oh, you're
Oh,
just,
so you
it's
had
just an old
experiences
house.
before he even.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, it's just an
here
old
about
house.
him.
You're
Mm-hmm.
BSing.
I was here for a couple of weeks while he was still in Mount Juliet working and trying to pack stuff up, and my daughter and I were here. And my daughter was sleeping upstairs, and I was sleeping downstairs in that bedroom. And one morning I woke up, and my CPAP machine, whenever you have it on your face, the only noise you ever really hear from that is it'll go with the airflow.
Right.
Well, my CPAP machine, it kind of froze up and it started going. And I was like, what the heck is that? And so I turned it off, and it never happened again. Then a few days later, I woke up, same room, same situation, picked up my phone, started scrolling through it, and then the phone just froze. Started making the exact same noise.
Really?
And I was like, what is going on? And then it stopped, and I never had it happen again. And then another morning, I woke up, and I looked out into the bay window from the bed, and I saw what I thought was my daughter, but it wasn't her. It was a female with longer black hair, and she had on a white dress, and she was standing in the bay window looking out the window. And whenever I got up, and later on I saw Carrie, and I said, was you downstairs? And she's like, no, I haven't been downstairs today yet.
What time was it when you saw the figure? Do you know?
I would say early morning, probably around,
Like 4 or 5 a.m.
no, probably around 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
About the time the
That's the
door.
time
Early
we've
morning,
had.
yeah.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
had instances in the bedroom at 7
Yeah.
in the morning. It's like, wow.
And like when you were in there in that door handle, you saw the door handle moving.
So, yeah, well, tell them what else happened to you before I got there, because I was like, oh, it was sleep paralysis. Because I read about sleep paralysis. She's like,
So
she,
I would be laying in the bed, and I would feel like the sheet would be over me, and I would feel something, and it felt like the sheet was kind of tightening, and I was like, well, that could just be the sheet moving or something like that. So that happened several times, and I just kind of brushed it off as nothing. And then I was laying there one night, and whenever I woke up, and
she couldn't
I
move.
felt the pressure all over my body, and it wasn't like forceful or very, very heavy. You could just feel something was on you, and I couldn't get up. I couldn't I could
Ooh,
talk,
wow.
but I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything, and I felt that pressure all on my
So
body.
she calls me and tells me this, and I was like, you probably had sleep paralysis where you were still sleeping and you thought you're like in in-between state. So I blew it off, and I was like, you know, it's whatever. And she's like, she goes, she could hear things upstairs when there's nobody upstairs. I'm like, it's a 140-year-old house, you know, it's got creaks and groans and moans, and that's just the way it is. So everything she's telling me, I'm just logically explaining back to her. No, there's nothing wrong with that house. And the reason I'm doing that, because I'm trying to psych myself up for moving into this house.
He's
I don't want
never
to deal
had
with
an
that.
experience before coming
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
I got you.
But you felt that it was.
But I felt uneasy the very first day I walked into this house. There was
So did
there
you-
were eyes on me. I felt like there were eyes on me, and I couldn't explain the feeling. And that's why I just wanted out of the house, like immediately.
So did you think what she was experiencing and telling you was paranormal, or do you think it was like, oh, just an act of imagination, new house?
I did, but at the same time, I was trying to convince myself as well that it wasn't paranormal because I had to live here pretty soon after
Yeah.
that. So then I move in, and as we're getting things unloaded, we're unpacking stuff over the next couple of days with our friend Steve, and I'm in the bedroom down here, and we were moving something. I don't know if it was boxes
hanging up clothes.
or hanging up clothes or something like that. And the closet door's shut, and I wasn't really paying attention to where people were or not because I'm running in and out of the room, moving stuff around, putting clothes up, putting bed sheets up, and I think I put the French horn in the closet too. And so I go in the room, and all of a sudden the door goes and opens, and I'm like, Ginger. I was like, that's not funny, Ginger. And I go over to the closet, and I'm like, that's not funny. And there's nobody in the closet. And I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm like, Ginger, where are you?
So that was during the day, too.
That was during the middle of the day.
Yeah.
That was probably around, I don't know, 2-3 o'clock. It was in the later afternoon, I would say. Because we were getting to the end of unloading the big ass truck that we had out front. So, and it was like, what in the, like, I could never explain that. And this is,
Yeah.
we didn't have any cameras at this time or anything. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I really need to get some cameras. I need to, like, because this is not normal, and I can't explain this, and that's not making me happy. So, and she goes, I told you there's things in this house, and I'm
And
like,
from that point on, he would not stay in that room. He wouldn't go
Nope.
in that room. He wouldn't
It's
sleep
like, we're not
there. He
sleeping
had
in
to
this
move
room.
upstairs.
we moved upstairs.
Wow.
So we went and slept upstairs instead. So at that
How'd
time,
that work out?
well, I figured everything that was happening to her was happening downstairs in that bedroom, so if I went upstairs, I'd be fine. No, that didn't happen at all. No. So, you know, Carrie was still living here part-time because she was kind of living here, and then she was slowly moving things over into Johnny's house.
Carrie's your daughter.
Yeah.
And because she was going to start school,
And
college.
so, and she had a friend up here, and I remember the one instance when her friend was up here, and they're all in the back room, and they're watching TV or something, and I'm coming down the stairs from getting something from upstairs, and I go to open the door, bam! I mean, it slammed so hard in my face, I felt the cold air from the
Force
wind
of
of
the
the
door.
force of the door slamming.
And which
I'm
door
like,
was that?
oh, you got...
hallway.
I was
from the kitchen.
mad. I was
Oh,
like
yeah.
instantly lit up, and I'm like, I opened the door. I was like, "Oh, you think that's fucking funny?" And they're looking at me like, "What the hell's wrong with you?"
What's
Because
your
they're in the
problem?
room, 25, 30 feet away, and they couldn't have moved within. I mean, I opened that door within like 2 or 3 seconds. Like I literally, as soon as it was slammed in my face, for about 2 seconds I was in shock. But I opened that door up immediately, and I was like, "Oh, you thought that was funny? Oh, ha ha!" And they're like, and I cussed, and they're like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" And I'm like, and I had to stop. I'm like, "You didn't just slam the door in my face?" And they're like, "No, we thought you slammed the door because you're in a bad mood." I was like, "No, something slammed the door in my face as I'm coming into the hall." And they all start laughing. I'm like, "Oh, you think that's funny?" I was like, "Okay, y'all think this is funny." So I had to come into Jesus with the ghosts the next day. I ran around this house, and I'm like, "I'm telling you right now, you can leave this house, because if you don't, I'm going to get rid of you. And I swear, I'll call a priest, I'll call a shaman, I'll call whatever I have to get you out of this house. This isn't your house anymore. And if you don't like it, that's too freaking bad. I don't care." So, and for a couple of days, everything was calm. There was no issues. And then, I go to get up in the middle of the night. And I go to the bathroom, because the bathroom's right around the corner from our bedroom upstairs. And I ran smack dab into the corner of the dang freaking dresser. Yeah. And I'm like, ow! I literally said ow out loud. I'm like, what the hell? Because I hit my knee. And I'm like, okay, I'm not awake yet. Where's the door handle? Where's the door? And I find the door handle, and I go to open the door, and it doesn't budge. And then I start feeling it. I'm like, what the hell? I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm like, Ginger, wake up. And she's like, I'm going to kill you. What's going on? And I'm like, because it's the middle of the night. I'm like, and it was like 3 a.m. when I woke up. I was like, did you move this dresser? And she's like, she looked at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, okay, you didn't move this dresser. I didn't move this dresser. Who the hell moved this dresser? And she's like, what do you mean move the dresser? I was like, turn on the light. She turns on the light. The dresser's about halfway blocking the door, moved over. And you could see, you know how when a piece of furniture that's really heavy stays in one place?
The footing,
the footing, and you can see the impressions. Right. It was moved.
You can see that.
I didn't hear it. I didn't hear anything move that night.
Right.
I didn't see it. I didn't, and it was after that night I decided to get cameras. I was like, okay, that's it. We're getting cameras because this is ridiculous.
That thing's heavy. You can't just move it.
The one upstairs?
Yeah,
oh yeah, it's like, it was close to probably 200
It's like
pounds.
no slant, you know?
Yeah.
It's like
And if somebody were to move that, you would hear it.
Yeah,
you would hear it dragging. Mm-hmm. It would have woken us up. She's a light sleeper, and she didn't wake up.
Oh, yeah.
So when it took me and her both pushing it to get it out of the way of the door so I could go to the bathroom. And then I'm like, that's it. I'm over this. I said, we're going to... And she's like, well... She's like, let me put this out on Facebook. And she starts making these videos. And that's when she met Rutherford Comedy Paranormal. And they're like, well, let us come. We've got somebody who's kind of like a medium. And they can talk to the ghosts. And maybe